Hi everyone, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the most awkward moments that my Tourette's tics have gotten me into. So, number one, I was sent out of assembly for ticking, and one of the assistant head teachers walked past and said, "Aren't you a bit young to have Tourette's?" But then I had to explain that Tourette syndrome usually starts quite early on in childhood. Although there is such thing as late onset, it's usually in early childhood. And I think she may have thought that kids don't have Tourette's, maybe because in the media it's mainly focused on adults. But then it can go the other way around as well, because there's a myth that everyone goes out of Tourette's, and not everyone does. So some people seem to think that adults can't have Tourette's either. Number two, the diarrhea tic. I walked into a public bathroom and ticked, "I have diarrhea," really loudly, and everyone just looked at me, really horrified. So that was a very awkward situation. Number three. Yes, I was at the theatre watching The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, and I do actually really recommend that. It's also a book, but it's basically about a person with Asperger's syndrome. But I was watching this performance, and for the majority of the time my tics were fine and I was quite calm. However, when it got to the silent part, and it was like they were trying to create angst and emotion, my tics just decided to yell, "Boring!" really loudly, and everyone just starts looking at me. And then that wasn't even the worst part. I started ticking even more, and then they said, "He's a mess." And then I just yelled, "My dad's a mess," and then my dad's just here like, "Oh no." And then I did eventually have to leave, but it wasn't actually because of my yelling tics, it was actually because I managed to choke on popcorn from ticking so much. So that was a very interesting day. Okay, number four. Oh yeah, I was in a chemistry class and we were getting the results of our tests back, and I'd failed this test, and I ticked that "I've got more ticks in this effing paper," and then I got sent out. But that was probably one of the most ironic tics that I had, but yeah. Number five, celebration assembly. So I was invited to the STEM, which is Science, Technology, Engineering, Maths celebration assembly, and Performing Arts celebration assembly. And I had won some awards, but basically I was sitting in the front row and I was ticking quite a lot, very inappropriate things, and pretty much everyone who came onto the stage, my tics would heckle them and insult them, which was interesting. And then my dad's just sitting at the back in the corner laughing with a couple of other parents. They're all just laughing because they know I have Tourette's. But then one of the teachers asked my dad, "Do you want to go sit with her?" And he's like, "No chance, I'm not sitting with her, you go sit with her," because it was very embarrassing. But then I was eventually sent out. But what was even funnier then is apparently you could still hear me even though I was in another teacher's office, and apparently all the other parents just looked horrified when I was ticking. But obviously I couldn't see that because I was at the front row, but apparently they all just looked really, really horrified. Number six, throwing pens as a tic. I used to have a tic where I would throw pens across the classroom, and luckily most of my teachers got used to this, even though it was quite disruptive. However, one time my tic seemed to have quite a good aim and hit my maths teacher in the crotch. Great. Number seven, STEM lectures. So STEM lectures they're optional and they're at my school. So not everyone went to them, but I just went to them because my friends were going to them and I wanted to spend time with them. But the interesting thing about these lectures is they're open to the public, so they're not just the students from my school, but there are also some primary school students, some people from the community and stuff like that. So not many people there knew I had Tourette's, only really my friends. So I was at one of the lectures and I felt the urge to tic build up, and I didn't really know what to do because I didn't really want to leave, so I was just trying not to tic, but then it didn't work, because I yelled a swear word really loudly and everyone just looked at me absolutely horrified, especially the parents of the primary school kids. And then it was really awkward because my friends were just here, like, they looked so embarrassed. So that was a very strange situation. Number eight, I walked into my psychiatrist's office at CAMS and ticked that I'm on drugs, and then I had to explain to him that my tics don't mean anything. They are completely involuntary and they're not what I'm thinking, and I'm not on drugs. And I had to reassure him of that because that was quite awkward as well. Number nine, we were having an assembly at my school and the teacher was wearing these really thick rimmed black glasses, and my tics just kept repeatedly calling him a nerd, which was quite interesting. Number 10, so I was in a little corner shop with my dad, so it was just a shopkeeper, me and my dad, and I had a tic where I would go, "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you." And then the shopkeeper just said to my dad, "What's getting to her today?" And my dad had to explain that I have Tourette's and I don't actually hate him because I don't mean what I tic and there's no intention behind it. Number 11, Secret Santa is always interesting when you have Tourette syndrome, because we were doing Secret Santa with my friends. Sorry, there's a fly there, I'm trying to get it away. We were doing Secret Santa with my friends, and with Secret Santa it's supposed to be a surprise, like who you're getting a gift from, but I kept yelling who I've got. And then once I bought them a gift, I kept yelling what I'd got them, which was quite awkward as well. Number 12, this was quite an ironic case of discrimination. So I was queuing up outside a classroom, getting ready for my lesson, and a substitute teacher came. Apparently she was teaching our class, and she said, "Can anyone help with my bags?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And then she said, "Hey, aren't you the kid who swears?" And I was like, "Well, I have Tourette's, so I guess, yeah." And then she said, "If you swear in my class, I'm going to have to send you out." And I said, "Oh, no, you can't, because I can't control it. I would rather be a part of the class." And then she said, "No, I'm sending you out." So I just put her bags down and left. But what was even more ironic about the situation is apparently it was a citizenship lesson and it was on discrimination, and my friend told me that she asked the class, "What can we do to create a more inclusive society and prevent discrimination?" And my friend just put her hand up and said, "Well, don't kick disabled students out of the class." And that's a very good point. Number 13, I was in quite a posh shop and stuff. My friends were looking around it, and I was ticking a lot of inappropriate stuff, and I had a tick where I would yell "slut drop" really loudly and then violently slut drop to the floor, as well as yelling a lot of strange things. But yeah, I got stopped by a security guard and asked to be quiet, and I had to explain I have Tourette's, and luckily they were understanding. But then what was even worse is a lot of people, it wasn't even staring, it was glaring. They looked at me like I was just an inconvenience, so I left because it obviously made me feel really horrible. So yeah, my Tourette's has got me into quite a lot of awkward, strange and embarrassing situations. However, I don't personally mind if you laugh with me at my tics, because usually I'm the person to first start laughing anyway, because I do see that there is some humour in some of my tics. But it is important to know that Tourette syndrome in itself is actually a debilitating neurological condition, and most of the time it can make life very difficult, and sometimes it even makes life a living hell. But I do agree that some of my tics can actually be funny, so I don't mind if you laugh with me, because sometimes using humour can take the tension off the edge of the situation. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I have experienced a lot more awkward situations, so maybe I can make another video like this another time. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have Tourette's or a tic disorder such as PANDAS or anything, and you've had any awkward moments with your tics, then comment them down below, because if we can share our awkward moments, maybe it'll make us feel less awkward about our own tics. Bye bye.